there's one woman, she's my customer service person. So as customer service, she tends to be way on her female side. She's a woman way on her female side. Some women are way on their male side, right? So those women won't relate to what I'm about to say. But this woman will build up resentment over time and then quit. And the reason they quit is they feel unappreciated. Whenever you're resenting, you feel, oh, it's because I'm unappreciated. Actually, it's because you weren't respected. You didn't get messages that you're included, that you're part of the team, that you're a valuable part of the team. That would be give her a sense that she's appreciated. And inclusion, that's respectful. Respecting that we're a team. And how would I do that? Well, I couldn't do it very well if I didn't understand that women and men are different and that people are different. Sometimes they're more on their male side, sometimes they're more on their female side. But she's way on her female side, which makes her very, very good customer service lady. I mean, she's very nurturing, very, very patient. She's not like rushing to get to the point. She'll be with people and she's wonderful. So what I noticed in our meetings together, those of us that you might say type A, or you might just say more on their male side, more go-getters, what do we do about this? And someone said, well, I think we ought to do this and this, but no, I think this is going, this is because this, everybody's got an opinion, they're expressing, she doesn't talk much. And we just assume she has nothing to say. That's an assumption. That's a very big assumption from the male point of view. Because if I'm in a meeting and I'm a man and I had something to say, I don't wait for anybody to ask me. We're not taking turns here. We're playing soccer. Okay? Who can grab the ball? We're playing basketball. I want to put it in the hoop. My idea should win. I'll take the ball from somebody else, put a little spin on it and put it in. So men want to seek credit. They want to achieve the goal. They want to be acknowledged. They want to be appreciated. They want to be seen in terms of what they can do. So here's my idea that can get something done. And we're busy as more people on their male side talking back and forth, and she's not saying anything. So without understanding gender intelligence, I wouldn't ask her what she's thinking, because it was all men and all the men were talking except one. Because I'm a man and he's a man, I would assume he has nothing to say. So I'm not going to say, hey, Marty, what do you think about that? Because if Marty has something to say, he'll say it. Okay, so he'll just say it. So I don't want to embarrass my friend over here in the group who had nothing to say. So no problem. So we just expect people, if they have something to say, to speak up. But she has something to say, but she's waiting to have somebody include her. And already her resentment is building up because nobody's asking her what she thinks. She often doesn't even know what she thinks until she's asked. That's another thing, because she's so much thinking what everybody else is saying. I'm a little bit that way. I can be listening to a lot of people and my mind just stops thinking what I have to say. A lot of people have the problem of, when somebody's talking to them, they're busy already making their answer. Now, because I'm a therapist for so many years, I've trained myself just to completely be listening, kind of like that customer support person. So I'm not thinking until I have my moment. And then when I have my moment, I wait for, now what's my thought? What am I going to say? So I need a moment to grab that. Well, for her, she's a woman. She needs more moments. So she needs a little introduction. So what do you think about this? Tom just said this. I know you have a lot of experience about that. What do you think might be the case? Or any suggestions from your point of view? Or what's your experience? Create some doorway for her to find her own voice and put it out there. And then, particularly when she puts it out there, you ask, well, tell me more. Never assume that when a woman says a sentence that there's not more behind it. There's always more behind it. So just be the patience I show, the extra time I show in including her and asking her a little bit about her experience. It scores big points with her. Then she feels she's included on the team. Now this guy who's a mixture of male and female, he's always whining because, he doesn't get the final word on things. He forgets I'm the boss. Okay. So I have to also say to him that that's really good. That's very helpful in this way. I sort of acknowledge the appreciation of what you have done is this and this and this. But, it wasn't always easy. Some people just don't let the love in. They're just not going to let it in. And so you just live with that and you fire them if it doesn't work out and it's just incompatible. It's just not working out. Eventually, I fired him. He was just more trouble than he was worth. Ironically, I've never had any trouble from the women. It's because I guess, a therapist talking to women all the time. I know how to talk to women, but also have great men that work with me. And if somebody's going to be a complainer, particularly a man complaining, see, if a woman is complaining, it's different. All she has to do is talk about it a little bit, and she'll feel better. A man complaining, it makes him feel worse. Okay, he just learned from his mother or something. What I teach men, as you know, is if you want to be masculine and you want to have testosterone and you want to be an inspiration for other people and you want to be motivated, you want to be an example of what you want other people to be, which is responsible and hardworking in the workplace, don't complain. Just don't complain. I've been in groups and situations where there's it's the female side of me just wanted to say, this is not working. I just wanted to complain. Suck it up. And what's interesting is you don't have to complain. You just have to seek to understand and suggest or command. You can command, this is how we're going to do it. Okay, I understand this. And if you're in a management position, this is how we're going to do it. If you're not in the management place, you come from the point of view, this is how I would like things to be. What do you think? You always respect those above you in a chain of command. And that's what the workplace is. It's a chain of command. You've got to have that chain of command. Somebody's got to be the final decision maker, and you have to have respect for that.
Hi, and welcome to another episode of Unlocked from Within. Today's guest, we have Dr. John Gray back on the show. This is his third time. If you haven't had the chance yet, please check out the first episode, which is all about understanding men, testosterone, anger, and estrogen. If you haven't checked out the second episode, it's all about women balancing hormones and when they're more on their male side as to their female side. So highly recommend checking out either or all of those episodes. They're jam-packed with full of value. But today, let's welcome Dr. John Gray on the show, the best-selling author of Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus. Hey, John.
Well, happy to be with you again.
It's been, I think last time we touched on it was literally this time last year. And, the last two episodes we've done, they've been very well received, getting a lot of comments on YouTube with how much it's made a difference and impact in people's lives. And so it's been great that they've actually been able to take away something and action it in their life. So again, thank you for coming on the show.
Happy to be with you. Happy to help.
Awesome, John. So I'd like to get straight into it. Today's theme, we obviously, the first episode was talking and understanding about men and their hormones and testosterone. The second episode was about talking about women and understanding their hormones and estrogen. And we also touched on estrogen levels with men in the first episode, which was quite fascinating. A lot of comments I've found, the correlation between anger, testosterone, estrogen. And so today I want to talk about and have a conversation around what are the difference in the dynamics of men and women in the workforce working together and leadership?
Well, leadership is all about being a good example and providing the support you need for people to be inspired to follow you. And that's your virtues and your values. And as a man or a woman, pretty much the virtues are the same. But when we communicate, we can also have the right virtue, like being considerate and cooperative, and not come across that way. So one of my books, which is called Work With Me, I was one of the few books that I've written with somebody, but I thought, I've written my own book called Mars, Venus in the Workplace. And then I thought I would write a book called Work With Me with a woman who's a feminist who discovered that most of her life she'd burnt out just being on her male side. And she coined a phrase called gender intelligence and teaches classes all around the world with that. And we teach them together as well. And so we took basically from a lot of forums, we asked people, where do you think the biggest misunderstandings are between men and women? And a lot of it just mirrors what we talk about in personal relationships. Men would complain that women are too emotional. Not all men would complain that, but they felt kind of very awkward, like they had to either be protective or dismissive. And, what we've already explored is that women have under moderate stress, and that's the workplace. The workplace is producing adrenaline all the time, pretty much. And whenever you have to make a decision, or you've got a deadline, or you're waiting on someone, or you're depending on someone and they're not coming through, this is just the work world. We just deal with that. What happens for men, that's the adrenaline hormone. That's like if you're driving 55 on a 55 speed limit, you decide to go like 70. Your adrenaline's going to go up as you're looking forward, but also looking behind you to make sure there's no police coming. So now if you're going 100 miles an hour and the lights flash, that's a major cortisol spike. I mean, you might lose your license, who knows? So, so that's a difference between adrenaline and cortisol and just normal. Like right now, I'm just producing dopamine. Dopamine gives me plenty of energy, but there's no stress at all. But as soon as there's stress, that's adrenaline. We'll call that little stress. So in the realm of little stress, women have a different biological response than men. Women's response is 8 times more blood flow to the emotional part of the brain. They're just going to be more emotional, and men don't know what to do with it. For a man in the same situation of moderate stress, he's going to have no emotional response. He's actually going to have the opposite of her. And this is measurable in the brain. Blood flow to the emotional part of the brain stops when a man's under moderate stress. So if it's a regular challenges in the workplace, I'm feeling happy or enthusiastic or disappointed or a little frustrated. That's emotions, right? Positive and negative. Worried, concerned. These are all moderate stress. Well, when actually that's when it kicks up to worried and concerned and whatever, actually men start having decreased flow of blood flow to the emotional part of the brain. So I'm looking at those beautiful mountains behind you. And, when a man is climbing those mountains, he is, those who love to do it, they're in danger. I don't know how they do it, but they're climbing up with their ropes or with their hands. That they could die at any moment. And so what happens is if they have confidence, they will completely disconnect from emotions. And that's what feels really good. It's to be free of worry, no fear, no reactions, just completely mind, sort of a expanded mind. And it's a wonderful feeling. That's pure testosterone with no estrogen. And
that's interesting you say that. I had a coaching session yesterday with a client where he feels like he's close to burning out in his new business because he's just work. And I was like, what are you, at the end of the day, like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm trying to sit on the couch, trying to watch something on TV. I'm like, where's your phone? And he goes, it's in my hand and I'm scrolling. I'm like, you need to put the phone in a completely different room, and that can be your me time to charge back up. The other thing that's interesting is I love snowboarding. I've got a snowboarding brand, NFPD Snow brand. And so like someone asked me like, what do you do to completely switch off? And I said, it's snowboarding. I'm in the present. I'm in the moment. I'm loving what I'm doing. I'm the most grateful. I'm in nature. I don't have my phone. And I'm just concentrating of what's in front of me right now. And I said, if you can find that, whether that's jet skiing or cycling, motorbike riding or surfing or whatever it is, that can make a difference.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. What I'm talking about is you're producing adrenaline, not really there's no danger there because you're confident. There is danger, but it's not dangerous because you're confident, you're competent, you have your skills, and it's not too much danger. So that's going to cause a man's blood flow to stop to the emotional part of the brain. So you can just feel great without any feelings of inadequacy or fears or worries or anything. And in that state, you also has a chance to rebuild your testosterone. Okay, so that's called cave time. Now for me, I will watch the news, and it's one of my favorite cave times now. It used to be meditation, but I can watch other people's problems. I think it's a function of being in your 70s uh, where you're more of a global person. You've sort of solved all your personal problems. So now you're thinking more of the global problems. But just hearing those things that are going on, and having an opinion about it and not being stressed out about it. I'm not worried about it. I think, I have strong belief in the heavenly powers that everything is good. But still, these are all these crazy politicians out there, all like nuts as far as I'm concerned. So I get to understand what's going on, there's challenges or whatever. Kind of like watching a football game, same thing for a guy. But I want to say that your snowboarding's even better, Cave, because it's healthier for you than sitting on a couch watching. But it's not like that's bad. Okay, so I come home, I need to go to my cave by watching some news. In the old days, men would just hold the newspaper up, and read the newspaper, read magazines or something. It's a time to distract from problems that are really dangerous, that would cause stress for you. But anyway, the point being, get off track a little bit. So when a man is experiencing adrenaline, and the workplace has adrenaline, when danger pops up, you're still confident, but you're not going to have emotional reaction. For a woman, she does. Now she can hide it, she can suppress it, but it's in there. It's the brain is functioning in the way her brain is designed to do, which is under moderate stress to feel emotion. So in one of our questionnaires, what were men's complaints about women is women are too emotional. They don't know how to deal with it. And often if a woman gets emotional about something, a man assumes, and this is where I'm making the point, he mistakenly assumes that she's not capable of doing the job. Okay. Because see, she could be quite confident that she can do the job. That's adrenaline. You still have confidence, but you have an emotional reaction. Now, hidden emotional reactions also tend to cause women to want to use more words to talk about a problem. So women in the workplace will often, let's say she's working for me and she sees a problem. She'll come to me, and she doesn't understand the gender intelligence. Men and women are different. Out of politeness, she'll talk about a problem in greater detail than I normally would, because there's a frustration, an angst, a concern, a worry that's a little amplified in her. And she's talking sort of to present her point of view, creating a space for me to express my point of view. Because see, on her planet, it's rude to just go in there and say, we've got a problem, this is what we should do. Particularly because I'm the boss. Who's she telling me what to do? But actually what men want is for you to come to me if you have a problem, shorten the amount of words you use to talk about the problem, get to the point, and suggest something. Don't just go, there's this problem. That's how we hear it. And yet most women, when they talk about a problem, they already have in mind what a good solution is, but they're just being polite. And if you don't understand that about women, you'll assume, if you're a man, you assume she doesn't have a solution. So women complain to me all the time. They say, I'll talk about a problem. My boss will just interrupt and tell me what to do or tell me the solution when I already knew the solution. So he's mistakenly understanding her as not being able to handle it because there's an emotional charge. You can feel it, or she's upset, or she's using too many words to talk about it. She thinks she's being polite by not giving a solution right away. So what we need to know as men, if you're a manager up level, if you're the male, is to listen to what she's saying and then say, and what do you think we should do about that? Include her in the problem solving. That creates a partnership with the people as opposed to standing over them, bossing them around, so to speak. Ask her, well, what do you think we should do about this? Then you can, give what you think is the right thing. Well, that's a good idea. That makes sense to me. And anytime we're talking about solutions to problems, whether it be a man or a woman, but even more importantly with a man, is if a man puts forth a solution to something or an idea that he has, in this case, the woman is putting forth a solution or an idea that she has, the appropriate response is always something along the lines of, that makes sense. That's a good idea. I hadn't thought about that before, but that will be very helpful as I figure out what we should do. Now, that last one is sort of respectful because I know I had a guy in my company work for many years, and he was way on his female side. And you have to remember that I'm giving these examples, but some guys are way on their female side. Some women are way on their male side. So I'm not saying every woman's going to be like this, particularly in the workplace. It can show up where women are way on their male side. And, but inside they're still female. But this man who was working for me, he was always complaining. All right. Whenever you've got a guy who's complaining, he's way on his female side. Anytime somebody's complaining with a lot of words, it's the female side. And what women can know is that when you're talking about problems, try to use the least number of words if you're talking to a man, because he's going to, he wants you to get to the point. This is efficiency. And something unique about men, women have it, but it's way, way more in men, is that we have this efficiency gene. The efficiency gene says never do anything you don't have to do. Don't give me extra words. Just get to the point. If I don't have to do it, then I'll get somebody else to do it. This is the efficiency gene in men. And women can completely misinterpret that, because, she could come into my office and I'd be talking and I'm still looking at something I'm looking at. And she's like, why is he still looking at that? I've just walked into the room. Well, we have another thing about men, which is we tend to not shift gears that quickly. It's like we have two ears. One is I'm focused on this, but okay, tell me, what is it? And a part of me is kind of listening to see if what she's saying is that important. So it's only the most important thing that gets my attention. It's efficiency. I don't want to just go here. It's like, what is more important? And often at that time, she'll be talking, a little talking. He doesn't give her his full attention. He doesn't just shift like this. That comes across to women as men are inconsiderate. Often they will say we're selfish. We don't care. And of course we're considerate and caring. We're caring about what we're doing here. And we haven't yet shifted to give our attention to care about what she's saying. But that can have an effect on her self-esteem if she doesn't understand men. He's like, I talk about for relationships, men are in their cave. Don't bother me when I'm in my cave. I'm focused. I'm focused on forgetting my problems. Well, in the workplace, my cave is my computer. I'm completely focused on what I'm doing here. And it's not as easy for me to shift my attention until I have to. So I might say, yeah, tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. And my brain is sort of processing, is it really that important? Or is this more important? We're always gauging what's the most important thing. Now, women can say, oh, I'm that way too, but they're not. One of the biggest problems women have when they come into my office and they're talking about stress in their lives is they always say, there's too much to do. There's too many things. I have no time for me. Rarely do I hear something like that from a man. He could have a little bit of that. But for a woman, it's overwhelm, because her attention very quickly goes from one thing to another, to another, to another, to another. Now, that makes her very, very efficient in the workplace. I mean, she'll see what has to get done. She can't sleep. She can't let it go without dealing with it. So many times they burn out much faster than men in the workplace. But this guy was complaining to me. He was the guy more on his female side complaining about stuff. But his biggest complaint is that, John, every time I tell you a problem, you always have another solution. You never follow my solution. So I don't feel appreciated in this workplace. And I said, look, your job, I'm the person who has to make the final decision. That's why you're working for me. I appreciate your point of view. It helps me formulate my point of view. But remember, I'm the boss. I'm the one who's paying your salary. And that's how I show my appreciation to you. Now, to another man, he pretty much understands this, but women don't. Okay. So he's on his female side. What makes men or women on their female side feel appreciated? He was always complaining, I don't feel appreciated. Just like women. When we did our survey of all these women, I'm not saying, whenever I say just like women, there's always exceptions. Okay. Don't anybody take big offense at this. But we interviewed, I said, well, women, what are your biggest complaints about men? And what they said is that men don't appreciate what we do. And I listened to that. My wife used to say that all the time. Oh, you just don't appreciate me. You don't appreciate me. And this is like a song for women. They don't feel appreciated. And the irony is, if I could explain it here, it's a little tricky to understand this confusion women have with their language. First, let me give you the conclusion. When a woman says, I don't feel appreciated, the truth is she doesn't feel respected. If she was respected, then she would conclude that I'm appreciated. You first appreciate someone because you appreciate them so much, you respect them. So the flip side of that is if when a woman is not feeling appreciated, what's really going on is she's not feeling respected. So let's give me an example of the difference, because she could say, gee, I just don't feel appreciated around here. And let's say she's this really efficient worker for me. But the amazing thing is she never asked for a raise. I pay her less than everybody else. But she seems to be happy with her job and she's so good at her job, but I don't offer her a raise because she hasn't asked for a raise. So as long as she seems to be happy, are you happy with her? Yes, I love my job. And she's very efficient with that. Of course, I appreciate her, but she feels, oh, no one appreciates me. And if you ask why, you'll see a variety of reasons. But one of them is she's making less money than everybody else. What that really means is that how could she say, I don't appreciate her when I'm over here going, this is so great. She works for less money. I'm saving money with this woman. Do you see how confusing this could be when you use the words appreciation? So all these women were feeling, what is your big complaint about men in the workplace? And the high number of women, 80% would say, I don't feel appreciated by the men. And we asked the men on their forums, what percent of men appreciate the women in the workplace? So say, yes, if you appreciate the women in your workplace, yes, I appreciate the women. It was 90 or over 90% of men who said, I appreciate the women in the workplace. But like 80% of women felt like, I don't feel appreciated by men in the workplace. So what's the missing link here? Men don't know how to show appreciation for a woman, okay? And really what I'm saying is men don't know how to respect women in the workplace, and then women will feel appreciated because men do appreciate. I mean, women do so much that you don't have to do, and they work very hard, and often they work for less. I jokingly say this at the same time. I'm saying this is just the reality. If you have an employee who seems to be happy with what they're getting, why offer more? But if I understand women, I would have that discussion with women, because some women, not all, some women will have this idea in their head. If I just do a really good job, outstanding job, then they'll pay me more. And a lot of men are thinking that the efficiency you're going to get, if I don't have to pay her more, why pay her more? So you want people to be happy working for you. You want the company to have positive feelings of cooperation and support and collaboration. It's a positive workplace. It's always a more successful workplace. No doubt about it. But communication skills can make a big difference. So when I look at the women who don't feel appreciated, does a man have to say, I appreciate you, I appreciate you, I appreciate you? No, that's not the answer. What the answer is, do things that make her feel respected, which means to be seen, to be heard, and to be included. These are all big words, inclusion. So what that would look like, I'm going to give you a few examples of one, which is to be seen. She comes into my office. If I want the women I'm working with to feel valued and appreciated, I will stop. I say, hi, what is it? Just what is it? Can you give me a summary? I'm busy working on this, but tell me what it's about. So what you're already thinking, just say it out loud. Just like, hey, hi, Helen. I'm working on this project. What is it? And can you give me a summary? So let's see if I have time. Something like that. Consider seeing her, hearing her, and letting her know that, can you give me a summary? Means not a big long thing, as opposed to, because it's really what we're thinking. Just give me a hint. What's going on? Do I have time to deal with it? Because I'm busy doing something else. But just that little moment of recognition, of shifting and looking and seeing, this makes a big deal. When I talk about some of the biohacks in our relationships, it's like giving your wife a hug. She could come give you a hug and it doesn't raise her estrogen that much at all. But you give her the hug. You find her. You give her the hug. The hug lasts 6 seconds. So it's not a sex hug. It's just simply a nice connection for 6 seconds. Because it's proven that after 6 seconds, a hormone called oxytocin will go up, and then her estrogen will go up and her stress will go down. Now, we're not going to be giving hugs in the workplace. In most workplaces, it's not allowed. It could be weird because of our rules. So basically, she comes in. I give her my attention for 6 seconds. That's it. Just like, hey, Helen, hi. What is it? What's up? Can you give me a summary? I'm busy working on this. Do you see how that sort of handles both sides of it? Another side of it is, when I was talking about asking for help, okay, so let's say you're a woman and you're going to a man, and because the way to motivate men in the workplace, which is same thing with your husband, if they're don't seem to see you or hear you or do anything, engage them in whatever you're doing by asking for help. Hey, would you look at this? What do you think about it? Now, sometimes a woman actually needs a man's help, whether it be a coworker, a boss, or employee, any one of those. You want their help. You want their feedback. You want them to explain something to you. You want some clarification. Or let's take the example I'm thinking of is a woman who's not that good with her IT, with her computer. And there's the guy over there, and he seems to be quite a computer whiz. So she goes to him. She says, I'm having this problem with this connection, and I know nothing about this. I'm terrible at this. I'm just so bad at it. This is a mistake women do. In order to ask for help, they will often put themselves down. Like, I really, really need help, as opposed to, hey, John, I've got a problem here. Would you look at it? If you're on the equal level, be on the equal level. Don't put yourself down to motivate a man to do something for you. You don't have to. Just simply a simple request in the same tone of voice, because this is a training for women. They often are not that good at asking for help without complaining. You know, what women will often do, oh, this isn't working. I don't know what to do. That's just complaining. That doesn't work. But it's a simple request. And one of the trainings for this is, let's say you're at a Thanksgiving dinner with all your relatives and you see the butter's at the end of the table. You say, Tom, would you pass the butter? That's the same tone of voice. Just, hey, Tom, would you pass the butter? Hey, you got a few minutes to help me with this. I really appreciate your time on this, just on the same level. But many times women will, oh, I don't know how to do this. I got bothered with it. I tried 3 times. I can't fix it. So what's she doing? He's on a status level of here, and they're equals. Now she's going to put herself down. This is a great image I'm doing. She's going to put herself down to motivate him to give to her. It's kind of like a manipulation. He'd be a jerk if he didn't, okay, because she needs help. Okay, so all right, it's somewhat of a manipulation. So she puts herself down. And then he says, well, that's pretty simple. All you have to do is XYZ plus XYZ. And she says, no, I already tried that. That doesn't work at all. At that moment, she's already put herself back up to his level and gone above him because she knows better than him. So he'll say, well, are you sure you did this and this and that? Yeah, I did this. That's just not going to work at all. So she's now, first of all, she goes down here. She goes to here. Now she's telling him his idea isn't good. So literally the poor guy, he's being buried by her. She's already said, I'm not good at this. And now I know you're worse than me. You can't even come up with an answer. So it's delicate. So you ask for help and a guy gives it. And often what he gets is a woman will explain to him, no, that won't work. Yes, but we had this happen and we had this happen. And that's not going to work. So then he feels put down. And she certainly didn't mean that. But because she put herself down and then she explained to him he's not right, he now is below her. So he's burying her. So it's a significant idea, which is be on an equal level when you ask for something, one. And when you do ask, if you're not going to say, wow, what a great idea, the 3 phrases, that makes sense. What a good idea. That's so helpful. Or instead of saying, yes, but, what you could do if you clearly see this is not the right guy, he's not giving me the answer. I'm not going to do what he says. What you have to do is create kind of an escape for him without his ego being bruised. It's just being friendly. And you say, well, that's a good idea. I hadn't thought of that. Just something like that. And that will certainly help me figure out what to do. Help me figure out what to do. Because that's very important to say that, because let's say you went to him with this problem. He gives you the solution. You have 2 choices. You can just say, well, I'm not going to do that. That's a bad solution. And then he feels bummed out a little. Or you can basically feel, well, now I have to do what he says. Otherwise, he's going to feel I didn't appreciate him. So then you end up having to do what he says. So what you want to do is create a nice way of saying, I'm not going to do what you say because it's a bad idea. And I'll figure out what I'm going to do on my own in a nice way. And the nice way is that makes sense. I hadn't thought of it that way. It'll be so helpful for me to figure out what to do. So now you're back on an even plane. His ego is preserved, and we all have an ego. It's a sense of self. And particularly it's nurtured in the workplace all the time by feelings like, what a good idea. Well, that makes sense. Well, I'm still thinking about it. Thanks for the help. That's so helpful. I still have a few days to figure this out. So you just soften it that way, as opposed to feeling like you just made him the hero and now he failed you. Okay, so that's a key phrase about appreciation, where men feel appreciated, and men will feel appreciated. Men are motivated when you ask them to do stuff. And then whatever happens, don't focus so much on the failure of it, but look at what the benefit was. There was a study some people did about people in the workplace, and while we all want to make a certain amount of money and more money is better, and we like money and all that good stuff, once people are working for someone, they've sort of accepted their payload, okay, or the payment they're going to get. That becomes just the norm. What provides emotional fulfillment in the workplace, and this is studies, other people's studies that did this, was self-esteem and feeling good and feeling supported and feeling support. So we come back to, okay, what makes men feel supported most? Men feel most supported when they do things and they get acknowledgement and appreciation. Do women need acknowledgement and appreciation? Yes, but it will never be enough unless they feel respected, unless they feel heard, unless they feel that you care about them, that they're a person, not a thing to be ordered around. I'm remembering this one woman who just raved about her manager. She says, I can always just go in his office and tell him what's going on. Nobody else, they always interrupt me. They just want to say, look, that's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. Just focus on this, or you shouldn't do that. But, she was just raving. And what you want is, as a manager, as a leader, you want people to rave about you, be excited to work with you, be inspired by you. And for women, this guy knew how to do it, because he would take the time, and it wouldn't have to be forever. And you're not doing a therapy session, but just to show interest and ask a few questions. So what are the questions for men to ask? It's the same thing I tell husbands in their relationship. Well, tell me more. What else? Really? Help me understand that better. I can't believe it. Little comments. Long silence is not good. Now, even I'm an expert on this. Even sometimes I forget. My daughter, Lauren, always reminds me. She said, she'll tell me some woe is me story of the week. She's just sharing her frustrations of the week. And then I'll be listening quietly. And then I'll just change the subject. Now it's my turn to talk. That reminds me of blah, blah, blah. She says, Dad, I need a response from you about you heard what I just said. What do you want me to say, honey? She says, what a bummer. That's terrible. They said that. Just repeat back a little bit, and this is, I don't need that as a guy. If I talk, I'm done. I don't need you to go, oh, that's terrible. Although I have to say, one time I was, had a big problem. And one of the guys in my men's group, he said, man, that's brutal. That was a good one. So from that, I realized just amplify that 10 times. And that's what women need about little things. And it's just to have that engaged questioning, a little bit of sound effects while they're talking, moving your head a bit is good. Because what we're not aware of as men is we can become hyper-focused and we detach. We're hearing a problem. Well, that produces a little adrenaline in us, and we detach from our emotions completely. And when you attach from your emotions, it's like this, women notice it. It's like, is he mad at me? Is he judging me? Is he criticizing me? Does he care about me? Is he thinking about something else? I mean, it's called ruminating. Women are notorious for ruminating, thinking about this. And, they can ask so many questions. What about this? What about this? Guys' brains just doesn't work that way. Okay. We look at all possibilities to wonder why that happened. So we're back to what makes men engaged is when you ask men for something, and when they do it, to smile, appreciate it. That was helpful. Oh, I couldn't have done that without you. Oh, what a great job. You're my hero. If you can have a playful workplace where you could actually say to a man, you're my hero. That's a wonderful workplace. Sometimes I say that in my classes, and there'll be some women in the room and they go, They just have so much angst against men. That just exists, you know. There's all kinds of people in the workplace. You don't get to choose everybody in the workplace, so you have to learn to live with them in that situation. But particularly when you're in service to customers, people that you're providing a service for, this is so valuable to understand these dynamics of asking questions. Now, what's interesting is men's biggest complaint. We had several, what were the big complaints men had about women, women's complaints about men? And one of the big complaints was that men have is women ask too many questions. Now, somebody must have read my book and heard that one, and they got all this heat from the HR department for saying that I think women are asking too many questions. That was considered sexist. Okay. So we live in a crazy world right now. So be careful with these ideas. You can't just throw them out there. It has to be someone who's seeking understanding of how we can be closer together, how we can understand the rough edges men and women have and the ways we unknowingly sabotage our relationships. But you can have a woman manager with a man, and boy, do men not like it when she starts asking too many questions. And because what we get is the message is you don't trust me. Now, when you look at my book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, or in my most recent, but we talked about last time, Beyond Mars and Venus, we talk about men's emotional needs. And one of the number one needs that men have, the thing that bumps his testosterone up. And for those that haven't seen our other episodes, the reason I can talk about these differences is that we know that men's well-being increases when testosterone goes up. A woman's well-being does not. A woman's male well-being goes up when her female hormones go up, either estrogen, progesterone, the right balance of them. And I talk all about that in the other book. But the workplace, by its nature, is not an estrogen producer. It's majorly a testosterone producer. You see, the workplace is all about, I'm serving you. I'm doing what you require of me. It's not I have a client come in. I can't complain about my wife to my client, but when you have a marriage or an intimate relationship, a friendship relationship, it's reciprocal. We're both, in a sense, obligated to, I'm going to give to you, you're going to give to me. And that's why we're good friends. There's a back and forth. It's not every time, but I'm serving you in some way, you're serving me in some way. And that's our friendship. And that's certainly a relationship at home. And that's what we need in our life is reciprocal relationships. But the workplace is one-sided. It's I serve you and you pay me. You do something for me for benefit to me. So it's very much, we're making decisions, the most efficient decisions to produce the biggest result, the outcome. And so you put yourself to the background when you go to the workplace. But when women put themselves to the background, they end up complaining, oh, I have no time for me. I have no time for me. I have no time for me. It's so easy for women to lose themselves in the workplace by worrying about getting everything done. They can't sort of find themselves. And that's an abstract notion that I can't relate to at all. Okay. But women say it all the time. A lot of the things about women, I can relate to it. I don't think I've ever had the experience, at least for me personally, of losing myself. Men are always aware of themselves. It's sort of a bottom line anchor point. Think of us as warriors. You have to constantly be protecting yourself before you can do for others. As providers for our family and our children, our wives, we have to first make the money so that they will love us and we can take care of them. So it's always got to be me first in order to help others. Whereas for women, the dynamic is child first. See, let me give to the family first. But the biological prerequisite in order to have a family is you had a man who loved you, who took care of you. So yes, I'm receiving from my husband so I can freely give. So women have this biological, just give without thinking of yourself. That's a mother, that mothering energy that women have. But that kills romance as well. And we talked about in our sessions on romance is that, men have to sort of go overboard to show respect, understanding, and caring for the woman, for her being, for her person, so she doesn't lose herself. And to have a more friendly attitude towards women asking us for help. Same thing in the workplace. I make myself always kind, and kindness is very important. Another major thing that you see in intimate relationships, same thing in the modern workplace, If you want to lead by inspiration, which is what leadership needs to be today, because people have other options. When people didn't have options, you led through intimidation. Might is right. You could just, hey, you don't do what I say, you lose your job. Okay. You got to follow what I have to say. Well, people don't want that anymore. That's control, manipulation, intimidation, through punishment, through threat, through anger. And so what we talked about before is the biology of anger in men is that when men are angry, their estrogen levels are going up. Men always think of anger as being macho, masculine, but no, it is macho. But macho is when a man is not confident in himself and he's lost his testosterone is going down and his emotions are going up. That's his estrogen goes up and he raises his voice. He gets angry. And as soon as a man gets angry, now you have fear. People around an angry man will have fear and women will have more fear. And when women now have to act out of fear, resentment will build up. Because already when you're in fear, you have to submit yourself to somebody else. And already women do that too much. They lose themselves too much in the workplace and they will resent you. Other places of resentment in the workplace that can be minimized by good communication skills, as well as insights that provide those good communication skills. I've got a group of my team. We're all working together. And there's one woman, she's my customer service person. So as customer service, she tends to be way on her female side. She's a woman way on her female side. Some women are way on their male side, right? So those women won't relate to what I'm about to say. But this woman will build up resentment over time and then quit. And the reason they quit is they feel unappreciated. Whenever you're resenting, you feel, oh, it's because I'm unappreciated. Actually, it's because you weren't respected. You didn't get messages that you're included, that you're part of the team, that you're a valuable part of the team. That would be give her a sense that she's appreciated. And inclusion, that's respectful. Respecting that we're a team. And how would I do that? Well, I couldn't do it very well if I didn't understand that women and men are different. And the people are different. Sometimes they're more on their male side. Sometimes they're more on their female side. But she's way on her female side, which makes her very, very good customer service lady. I mean, she's very nurturing, very, very patient. She's not like rushing to get to the point. She'll be with people and she's wonderful. So what I noticed in our meetings together, those of us that you might say type A, or you might just say more on their male side, more go-getters, what do we do about this? And someone said, well, I think we ought to do this and this, but no, I think this is going, this is because this, everybody's got an opinion, they're expressing, she doesn't talk much. And we just assume she has nothing to say. That's an assumption. That's a very big assumption from the male point of view. Because if I'm in a meeting and I'm a man and I had something to say, I don't wait for anybody to ask me. We're not taking turns here. We're playing soccer. Okay? Who can grab the ball? We're playing basketball. I want to put it in the hoop. My idea should win. I'll take the ball from somebody else, put a little spin on it and put it in. So men want to seek credit. They want to achieve the goal. They want to be acknowledged. They want to be appreciated. They want to be seen in terms of what they can do. So here's my idea that can get something done. And we're busy as more people on their male side talking back and forth. And she's not saying anything. So without understanding gender intelligence, I wouldn't ask her what she's thinking because it was all men and all the men were talking except one. Because I'm a man and he's a man, I would assume he has nothing to say. So I'm not going to say, hey, Marty, what do you think about that? Because if Marty has something to say, he'll say it. Okay, so he'll just say it. So I don't want to embarrass my friend over here in the group who had nothing to say. So no problem. So we just expect people, if they have something to say, to speak up. But she has something to say. But she's waiting to have somebody include her. And already her resentment is building up because nobody's asking her what she thinks. She often doesn't even know what she thinks until she's asked. That's another thing, because she's so much thinking what everybody else is saying. I'm a little bit that way. I can be listening to a lot of people and my mind just stops thinking what I have to say. A lot of people have the problem of, when somebody's talking to them, they're busy already making their answer. Now, because I'm a therapist for so many years, I've trained myself just to completely be listening, kind of like that customer support person. So I'm not thinking until I have my moment. And then when I have my moment, I wait for, now, what's my thought? What am I going to say? So I need a moment to grab that. Well, for her, she's a woman. She needs more moments. So she needs a little introduction. So what do you think about this? Tom just said this. I know you have a lot of experience about that. What do you think might be the case? Or any suggestions from your point of view? Or what's your experience? Create some doorway for her to find her own voice and put it out there. And then, particularly when she puts it out there, you ask, well, tell me more. Never assume that when a woman says a sentence that there's not more behind it. There's always more behind it. So just be the patience I show, the extra time I show in including her and asking her a little bit about her experience. It scores big points with her. Then she feels she's included on the team. Now this guy who's a mixture of male and female, he's always whining because he doesn't get the final word on things. He forgets I'm the boss. Okay. So I have to also say to him that's really good. That's very helpful in this way. I sort of acknowledge the appreciation of what you have done is this and this and this. But, it wasn't always easy. Some people just don't let the love in. They're just not going to let it in. And so you just live with that and you fire them if it doesn't work out and it's just incompatible. It's just not working out. Eventually I fired him. He was just more trouble than he was worth. Ironically, I've never had any trouble from the women. It's because I guess a therapist talking to women all the time. I know how to talk to women, but also have great men that work with me. If somebody's going to be a complainer, particularly a man complaining, see, if a woman is complaining, it's different. All she has to do is talk about it a little bit and she'll feel better. A man complaining, it makes him feel worse. Okay. He just learned from his mother or something. What I teach men, as you know, is if you want to be masculine and you want to have testosterone and you want to be an inspiration for other people and you want to be motivated, you want to be an example of what you want other people to be, which is responsible and hardworking in the workplace, don't complain. Just don't complain. I've been in groups and situations where there's a part, it's the female side of me just wanted to say, this is not working. I just wanted to complain. Suck it up. And what's interesting is you don't have to complain. You just have to seek to understand and suggest or command. You can command, this is how we're going to do it. Okay. I understand this. And if you're in a management position, this is how we're going to do it. If you're not in the management place, you come from the point of view, this is how I would like things to be. What do you think? You always respect those above you in a chain of command. And that's what the workplace is. It's a chain of command. You've got to have that chain of command. Somebody's got to be the final decision maker, and you have to have respect for that. Often people have tried to have a business run by everybody has a voice equal, and we have to vote on things. All agree. It goes on forever and ever and ever. I was pleasantly happy one time when my wife was telling me she was in this group of women that were accomplishing some noble thing, and it was a good thing. But they were all feminists. So they had to feel that we all had to decide together before anything got done. And finally, the number one feminist, she says, we're not going to do this anymore. We're going to talk about it, but I'm the leader. And when I say we're going to do it, we're going to do it. Okay. I'll vote for that. You got to go ahead.
It's funny you say that. It's because sometimes when I'm just having a conversation with my wife, I'll be trying to get her to make a decision. And sometimes she'll just get annoyed and step back at me and go, just make a bloody decision. And I'm like, I'm trying to let you make it.
Yeah, equal. No, let me hear your point of view, and this is what we're going to do. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. Yeah, women, see, whenever you make a decision, just so you know, that's your male side. And it's also a stress producer, particularly for women, less stress producer for men. If it's a testosterone, if you're confident in your decision, no stress. But anytime you make a decision, it's like win or lose, you're faced with a gamble right there. And that's a little stress. And stress has a bigger impact on women than men when it's that kind of stress. So there's So we covered some of the basics are women would say that men don't listen. We covered that in all the other ones, but that was also in the workplace where women would say that men just want to interrupt. They want to get to the point. They don't hear the point of view. Another one, which is men sort of just didn't know how to handle when women would cry. Sometimes women will, I know some women never cry in the workplace, but there's women who will cry. And unfortunately, what that does is that the man does is that thinks, oh, well, then I can't give her so much responsibility. And she could take more responsibility. It's just that she had an emotional reaction. And what you do is you just let it be there and you don't say anything. See, they don't know what to do. It's okay, you don't have to do that, or I'll give you an easier job. But in his mind, he goes, okay, she's just not ready for the big jobs. He'll always lower the responsibility. When women are running the world, they can do everything, except at times, particularly, their stress will build up. They'll have an emotional reaction. What you do as a man is just say nothing. Just pause. And then basically we can work this thing together, say something like that, and let's plan what we're going to do. So whatever context it is, don't address the emotion. Do you feel sad? Are you frustrated? Are you scared? Are you worried? Don't need to do it in the workplace. The workplace is not a place to be sharing and expressing emotion. It's a place to be centered, logical, goal-oriented, and heartfelt. I mean, heartfelt is joy, positive emotion. But when you have negative emotion, you have to put it to the side and not deal with it in the workplace by expecting people to change. See, that's all negative emotion. Where it comes from inside of us is a primitive part of us. I'm not saying they ever push it down forever. I said just put it to the side and handle it later. But the negative emotions are always there when somebody is not giving us what we want, and we have an emotion to manipulate them into giving us what we want. I mean, the classic thing is you cry. Oh, well, I don't want you to cry. Let me do this for you. The classic male thing is I'm going to be angry. Everybody's going to be afraid, and they're going to do what you say. You know, fear is, oh, I can't do it. I can't do it. That's a manipulation to get somebody to do it for you. I feel so bad. I feel so terrible. Oh, I feel so bad. That's a manipulation to get people to trust you again, that you're going to change. Okay. These are all primitive forms of manipulation, and you don't use them in the workplace because the workplace is all about creating results in the outer world. We want people to buy, we want people to cooperate, we want people to trust us, we want people to buy, whatever, we want to buy into whatever we're selling. So you're constantly, it's not really manipulation in a negative sense, but we're wanting to create a result. Never use negative emotions to create a result in the workplace unless it's positive emotion. Positive emotion is great. If positive emotion is hands open, make your choice, do what you like to do. Awesome. So those are some of the key insights that I gained through gender intelligence in the workplace, which is so many with that increased awareness. So there was the inclusiveness, there was taking time to listen to a woman, there's time to acknowledge what she said. Okay, so what you said is a little active listening is actually better in the workplace than at home. In all of your relationship books, they'll teach active listening where your partner says something and then you say it back. But when you live with that person all the time, it seems very contrived. And it's kind of like, I heard you, so why do I have to say this again for? But in the workplace, it's very powerful, maybe the most powerful communication skill in the workplace, because you're not living with somebody, you're not always connected to them. There's a distance. And so you feed back to them. So what I hear you saying is that this is going on and you felt this and you did this and that person this, or this is what you would like and you want this and you believe that this will create this result. Is that what you're saying? So you get them to agree with you. And they say, yes, that's what I'm saying. So you've just created a connection there. Yeah. That's powerful. The most powerful is active listening in the workplace. At home, use it occasionally. Don't use it all the time. Otherwise, it just feels like you're just doing a technique on your partner.
Again, John, full of wisdom and value. What's your final thoughts?
Well, my final thoughts is, I do this also to promote my books. I want to take a moment to promote myself a little bit. This is Beyond Mars and Venus. This is, such powerful insight for our personal relationships. And The second, and the things that really change our life the most is when we have more love in our lives. We can be a better father, a better mother, better husband, wife, keep our family together if possible. If divorce is inevitable, at least let's continue to be friends. Let's fight, not fight. Give the children a sense of normalcy to the whole thing. So that's really what I love to do in my work. But also, a big part of my work, people don't know, or some people don't know, is I've written many books on health. And if you want to have less stress in your life, good communication skills, learning how to interact between, building your testosterone, your estrogen. We did a whole show on that. But another aspect is at my website, marsvenus.com, at the very top of the page, there's a button, and you can order this even in Australia. Actually, you can't order it in Australia. Okay, I'm not going to talk about the button at the top of the page. What I'm recommending at the top of the page is a substance that is Australia, it's illegal. It's a stress-reducing mineral. And unfortunately, the only place it's legal is in America. And it's not legal to have it. You just can't buy it in Australia. It's called lithium. And if you want to read about it, you can always have your friends send it to you. Go to the top of the page where it says man or woman, and it will give you a whole description of all these supplements in one capsule that will lower your stress. But in Australia, it's certain ingredients in it, they won't let you get. But at the bottom of the page, on the homepage of marsvenus.com, there's a thing that says contact us. And contact us, you go to that, it will give you a page and what you want to contact us about. And if it's about health, we have an email where you can have an email coaching on health. And what we coach people on health is something that I've discovered, which is immensely powerful for lowering our stress levels. One is the adaptogens, which aren't legal in China and Australia, but the protein. So this is New Zealand, grass-fed, cold processed whey protein, and the perfect balance with casein protein, which is like mother's milk, not like cow's milk. Cow's milk is indigestible to a great extent because it's for cows who are much bigger than humans. So 90% of the milk is casein. We don't need that much. We need about equal amount of whey and casein. So it's already balanced in that form. That's the first thing. The second thing is it has enzymes already in it, packed with these 5 enzymes that are known to break down the proteins. And this is a new revelation, you won't read this anywhere. I don't yet have it in a book, but it's been studied. If you take the protein powder and you put it in warm water at 100 degrees to 110 degrees, anywhere in that range, 100 degrees is fine. Protein powder goes in the 100-degree temperature water and let it sit for 45 minutes. It will completely digest the protein for you. Now, what that means, why we want to digest it, is that if we have any stress in our life, we're not able to fully digest our proteins. Now, what does it mean to digest your proteins? It means to break down the protein and extract from it what's called amino acids. Amino acids build everything in your body. And they're particularly the precursors for healthy dopamine and serotonin in your brain. And so this is like really valuable, is to get pre-digested protein for you by putting it for 45 minutes. And when they did the research on it, they found that when people drank that their body absorbed 95% of the amino acids. Any other protein you eat, at the best is a steak as far as digestion goes, you'll get 30% of the amino acids out of it and utilize. If it's beans and rice, you're getting 10% of the amino acids. If it's eggs, you're getting about 20%. So different proteins are going to break down and give you a certain amount of amino acids. Your body can only utilize so much. But when you do this special invention of the protein with the amino acids, with the enzymes in the water, and you can do it for 45 minutes, just sit it there. It's amazing. You'll get 95% of the amino acids, which is like going and getting an IV drip, which costs $5,000. I mean, it's an amazing benefit for this drink. Now, I discovered this about 25 years ago when I turned 50. I guess that's 23 years ago. I had early stage Parkinson's, and what I had to do to cure it was to get IV drips that cost $10,000 for each week of amino acid proteins to go to my brain. And I did it for several months, and then I had to figure out, how do I do this without having to pay for the amino acid drip? And you'll see people are now going to these alternative clinics to get amino acid drips. You feel great. It does healing of the brain. I can't recommend it more, except here for buying a protein shake, cost of a cup of coffee, you can get the same amino acid infusion every day. And you don't have to do it always, but you'll feel the lift if you go for a few days without it. I've been doing it now 25 years. I don't always incubate it because I don't have time, but whenever I realize I'm not doing it, I need to do it, I notice the difference when I get those pre-digested proteins into my brain. It's just like a superfood. So I highly recommend that. That is available in Australia. The company that makes it also has outlets in Australia. And if people want to do that, if they go online, send your email in, our consultant, a lady I've worked with for 25 years, will guide you through this process. And if you want to go through a complete process of, we call it the reset, the 30-day reset, miracle things can happen for people's health. It's a major detox of the body. What they found, if you use this special form of protein, you can, if you want to lose weight, if you need to lose weight, you actually build muscle mass without any extra exercise. You'll build muscle mass from this, amplifying how much of these proteins you take. So you increase the amount of food you eat, you build muscle, and you lose weight. you lose the fat in the belly. And so many people are like, I got to get rid of this fat in the belly. I'm the same way as I get older. If I had a bunch of ice cream, it just shows. So for me, okay, I want to do for me. So I'll just do a few days of this program and I come right back to my balanced state. So this is about being mindful, but to know once you're stressed, now you can't digest your proteins. Now your undigested proteins don't support optimal brain function, which keeps you stressed, which then inhibits digestion, which keeps you stressed. So here's a way to break through that pattern and lower the stress in your life. So that's another powerful tool that I like to share. And if people go through my consultant, I also get a little profit from that. So it's like a affiliate code that I get. So I'm promoting that as well.
Awesome. Again, John, thanks again. It's been a pleasure and an honor again to have you on the show, and would love to do it again another time.
All right, Marty, real pleasure. What are we going to talk about next time? You get some questions from people and then
sure.
All right.
Okay. Definitely. Thanks again, John. Thanks again for listening to or watching another episode of Unlocked from Within. If you found massive value in today's episode, please leave a comment and share this with someone that needs to hear it, or watch it if you think it is of value. Please leave a comment of what you would like us to discuss next with Dr. John Gray in future episodes, or who else you'd love to have on the show. If you'd love to learn more about Dr. John Gray, you can check him out at his website, marsvenus.com. If you'd love to purchase one of his best-selling books, you can get it on amazon.com. Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, or his latest version of that, Beyond Mars and Venus. And he has several other best-selling books. If you'd love to connect with him on his socials, you can check him out, connect on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, and he's also got a wealth of content on YouTube as well. Again, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed already to Unlocked from Within. And again, thanks for taking the time to listen or watch the show. I hope it's helped in some way. Again, thank you.